Good morning, everybody. It's Jane Johnston with the Bar Hill Group at Remax Camosun. Today we have a special guest, Melanie Henson. That's because Andrew is away. He's coming back today. So safe travels, Andrew, and I hope you had a great birthday. All right, so let's get down to the stats. It's just going to be me reading them. And this is exactly why we have two people on the show, because I don't like reading them myself. All right, so let me just hide that. All right, so today's topic is why staging is crucial to selling your home well. And our guest is Melanie Henson of Homestyle Solutions. But first, the stats. So last week, we had 74 sales. It's interesting because I went back to a July slide and I was looking at the sales and wow, are we down? But it is seasonal, people, and it's normal. This is compared to 474 for the month of January in 2022. This week we're up to 155, so we're basically doubling. I did have multiple offers on a listing, and that's not to say that in multiple offers that they're going above asking, just so everybody knows. So don't be afraid to get in there and start fighting for the listing if you want to get the house. Okay, so new listings are 379 last week compared to 575 this week for a total of 694 comparable to last year. And total listings are 1,707. That's up from 1,670. So we're up around 40 overall active listings, and that's compared to 744 last year. So that's good. That shows that we're going to have a robust listing market, I think, for the spring. So good. Okay, new listings. Last week, we only had 6 compared to 176 this week. That's because everyone's coming back from holidays and they're meeting with their agents and discussing what they're going to do. Usually what I find happens is after major points in the year, so Christmas, Family Day, Easter, and March break, those are when we start to see decisions happening in families to decide whether or not they want to move. Pending were just 2 last week compared to 84 this week. So again, this shows us the market is picking up. So list to sale ratio I'm seeing is just about half. So that's good. Price decreases last week were just 5, and we've had 39 this week. So people are realizing if they're not getting offers that they better start adjusting that price. And price increases both 1. Back on the market is 4. So usually that happens after there's been a hesitation. Something's happened to cause the seller to take the house off the market. Usually it's like a repair or something. And we see 81 sold. So those are completed. Those are from January sales or December sales. And expired, we see 11 last week compared to 39 this week. And there is a strategy where you can expire a listing and then bring it back on. What that does is it just refreshes actually realtor.ca so that it moves up in the rankings. It also allows people who maybe have discounted a listing because of price that it shows up again in their feed if you've lowered the price. So I always tell my clients, don't discount on price. Just discount if you don't like the actual house because the price can come down. All right, so here is Melanie. Hello, how are you?
Good morning. I'm good, Jane. How are you?
I'm phenomenal, as Ray Blender would say.
That's awesome.
Okay, so we're going to be talking about staging. Melanie and I have known each other like 10 years, maybe?
Maybe a little bit more than that, I think. Maybe 12 or 13. A long time.
Yep. So I have a funny story. Melanie wasn't the owner of Homestyle Solutions at the time, but I had this listing. It was a townhouse in Broadmead, and people would come into this townhouse and they would look at this two-legged table. It was a two-legged table. They'd be like, how is that standing up against the wall there? Like, they would always be commenting on this two-legged table in the front hall. And I was doing an open house, and I'd be down, and I'd see these people hesitate and look down at the table and just wonder. And I was like, okay, you know what? I got to do something. So I hired Homestyle, And at that time, it was Pauline and her sister,
Yeah, Diana.
and they came in, they took the table away, and immediately the comments turned to, oh my God, look how beautiful that skylight is.
Right.
So I know staging works.
It does. We just need to shout it from the rooftops.
So people, if you, yes. My son is asking me for the mail key. Yes, it's in my car, in the console.
Life happens.
Why you don't leave it home.
That's okay. This is going to get the mail.
So first of all, what did you do before you got into staging?
Well, that's kind of an interesting story. I never had any kind of background in interior design. I actually worked for Starbucks for many, many years, and then had two wonderful twin boys who are now 18, but started working with Pauline and Diana in, I think it was 2010. Just kind of started working with them. But, I didn't really dabble in it, but I knew that things needed to be changed in places. So I kind of felt like you kind of either have it or you don't have it. So, when you start rearranging the furniture a million times and trying to, fix around your house, and when you go to other people's places, I just fell in love with doing that. So kind of started in 2010.
I do find that people notice something's wrong, but they don't know what it is.
Yeah, I took a feng shui course once, and it's interesting to me is that you see if a table or a sofa is in the wrong position, just like in your story that you were telling, if it doesn't go, you don't know what's wrong in the room, but you know that something is wrong in the room. So an example, if there's a picture of running horses and they're running into the wall, it kind of makes you go, well, that doesn't seem right, right? Or like a sofa right in the middle of the room that's blocking you from going in. Something doesn't feel right about that space.
The flow.
It's got a flow. You have to be able to, what is the focal point in a room? That's what you really need to be focusing on. But yeah, but some people just can't put their finger on what's wrong with that room.
Yeah. So obviously you've taken lots of courses since then, and you're on some show in the US or something like that. What do you do there?
Oh, in the US? Well, so I actually worked with a marketing firm, and I did a lot of photo styling. So that's just with a photographer going into some of these major hotels. We've even done some retirement homes, making that photo look right, because it's all about the photo, right? So when you're selling something in a beautiful hotel, the first thing you do is you look at the photos of that space and go, yeah, that's where I want to go. What makes you want to go there? It's the whole picture. Same within staging your home. Those photos, we say that is your big selling feature right there, right? You want to make sure that photo is 100% inviting, welcoming, makes you want to lean in, look at that picture a little bit more, and makes you then want to go there.
Okay. I do find that when I go into homes, and we're going to see some pictures right now, that definitely it makes a difference. And one of them really struck me. When we get to it, we'll talk about it. So let's just add the PowerPoint. So first of all, José is your kind of what do you call it?
My work wife.
Your work wife. Okay.
She's my work wife. So Joe and I, we work together in staging and in design. So we've been working together for quite some time now too. Same amount of time, I think, 12, 13 years.
Yeah. And they're a good complement to one another. If you follow them on Instagram, what's your Instagram?
Homestyle Solutions.
Okay. Yeah. At Instagram. I'm going to put it in here.
Okay. Yeah, sometimes we try and do some, the reels are fun, right? Because people need to know the work that goes into doing a stage. You show up and it looks beautiful, but there's a lot of background to how it gets to that point.
Yeah, exactly. And I think so this is why staging does cost some money. We're going to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
So first
Mm-hmm.
of all, I went into a listing. Oh, and I forgot to put it in here. But anyway, it's very similar to this.
Mm-hmm.
So it had one brown couch and a weird picture on the wall. It was previously marketed with another agent, and the seller called me up and asked me. By the way, we don't call up people who have active listings, and I don't call up expired listings. But anyway, the seller called me up and said, "Hey, can you please list my home?" And I was like, "Sure. I've shown your home, by the way, and here's what the feedback from the buyer was." So we couldn't see the use of the space. So obviously here you've brought in, and the same in mine, you brought in the green. I really like that. It adds a pop of color.
Mm-hmm.
Explain what you've done here.
So this space was really quirky. It had some really weird built-in shelves that didn't make quite a lot of sense. And so it had this little opening, and this is the living room. And luckily we had a piece that could fit just perfectly. It showed that the space could hold 4 people comfortably. It's an inviting conversation cluster is what we call it. Bringing in the greenery, because this is a condo, you're in a concrete jungle basically. Bringing in some faux foliage really creates that outside bringing in. Pops of green are natural. It brings so much light, just looks more inviting than this space of how do I use it. The bookshelves just didn't make any sense, but now it just kind of all works together.
Yeah. Is that on Fairfield?
It is.
Okay, yeah. I know which building that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so why, I go into some places and I feel overwhelmed because there's just so much furniture. So tell me the story behind this. So this lady, this is her furniture on the left, right?
Yeah. So in my post that I talk about it, we all buy a sectional possibly, and it comes to our new home and it just doesn't fit. These people, they put their sectional in there and it was just so oversized. But they didn't want to get rid of it. But she knew that, to show this space, she needed to get rid of it and stage it with some better furniture to show the space, because empty didn't look like it could hold 4 people either. So it was actually bigger than she thought it was by just adding 2 side occasional chairs, a smaller sofa. We opened up that window space so that people could actually go to the window. That's the big key, is people want to flow around to see what it looks like on the outside. What is their view going to be when they're sitting in that living room? So
also, all that stuff in the fireplace is like totally distracting from a focal point.
And that's just kind of how they were living at the point, right? Because they weren't really using this as a living room to watch television, because it was really uncomfortable, because they all had to cram onto this one sofa. But we knew that it would not photograph well.
Did they refinish the floors too?
They did. Yeah. So the picture here doesn't really, the floors were finished. They looked amazing, a little bit darker than what my picture is showing, but they spent a lot of money, and it made sense for them to refinish the floors, to have it staged, to touch up the paint. And they basically moved out their furniture because they wanted to get the best bang. If they were going to do it, let's do it right.
Okay. Did you find, was it listed previously, this one?
This one was not. I don't believe it was, but
I'm not. Did it go fast?
It did go fast. It went fast.
Great. So that's the biggest difference, because, I could go through the science of it, but if you look at interest in a property over time, you really want to get the most amount of interest in the first 3 weeks in a regular market, in the first 3 days in a really fast market.
Yeah. Well, because then once it sits on the market, I feel like you're getting a different kind of interest. Okay, it's sitting on the market. What's wrong with it? Or, can we bring the price down? This one went quickly. It was actually a very interesting building. It was a duplex, which was oddly positioned, but once you went in the house, you didn't even realize it was a duplex. So it kind of distracted from all of that.
Right. Okay, let's do this one. So to me, this makes a great point to bedding and how it affects the room. It just lightens up the whole room, so you're not focused on this dreary carpet. You kept the window coverings, obviously.
Yeah. So this is an old condo that, oh my gosh, it needed so much attention. The carpets needed to be replaced. It was old. It hadn't been repainted. We brought in this, and because of the angle of this room, it didn't look like you could fit a bed in there. And we actually staged it with a king size bed and a chaise to overlook the water there. It was incredible.
It's a weird space.
It's a completely weird space. And I don't know even if the client had lived like this, like having the bed on that wall. So here it just, how luxurious would it be to lay on that chaise and look outside all day long?
Yeah, exactly.
You're selling the dream. Yeah, selling the dream.
Selling the dream. Okay. So often, I'm always surprised by this, but I do get invited to go and view homes, and they do look like the left. Personally, I would never show my home like that. Even like before this, I was folding this blanket so that Melanie wouldn't see.
Oh, you should see what we walk into sometimes. And you know what? I don't need you to clean your house before I come over, because I think the best thing is let's see it as you live, and then let's take it to how you sell your home. So like how we live, so you don't make your bed every day. Okay, this is raw. This is real. This is what it looks like. But you cannot show that to the public. You cannot show that online.
Fundamentally, they're actually not that different. It's just you've added a bench that's given it a feeling of space, and you've added that art to tie into the feature wall there. But all the pieces are the same.
They're the same. We add a little bit of greenery, pop of color, just to accent the wall to make sense, to flow. We also added a carpet because the flooring was not great. It was a painted floor, which is not for everyone. But you could see by adding the carpet, you could actually put carpet in this bedroom and you'd be okay. And this is their bed. We took out that raw looking bench that they had that just looked weathered and tethered, but people are not buying the furniture. They're buying the space, and they want to buy the lifestyle. I keep going back to that.
Creating a vignette.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, this is another one. What amazed me was when I looked at the second one, I was like, wow, that's the same light fixture. I mean, it is a different angle.
Yes,
but my kitchen, I know when I had kids, looked like this.
Yeah, this one was super overwhelming. And they kind of lived like this. This was not packing up and ready to go. So when I walked in, these people actually had to move out because it was not going to fit their lifestyle. You got little ones, like they're just, they come with so much stuff. And it's fine to have kids stuff in your listing, but to this extreme and having to keep it organized and keeping it clean, it's daunting for people. This house sold right away because it was just it was a beautiful home. It was a beautiful home, but you couldn't see that through all of this.
So do you find what happens sometimes? I know that you've done staging for me and my clients have decided to stay. Have you done that before?
You know what?
It
absolutely. They usually go, wow, why didn't we move that sofa away from the window? Now we can actually see outside. Or, wow, what if we just organized our lives a little bit better? Then we could have lived so much more in this home. Yeah. And what we have actually done a lot of design afterwards. So either the people really love the staging who buy the house, and we actually come back and help them with furniture purchases or paint colors, etc. Or we go on with the client who has sold the property into their new home and help them get that beautiful feel that they felt when we staged it.
So I just want to say that the table chairs obviously are very different. Mm-hmm. So you brought in the table and chairs.
That's correct. So that was rental furniture.
So there's two different types of staging that's going on here. One is with people's own stuff, and the other is with the furniture that you can provide.
That's right. So we could do partial staging where we'll come in and we can do a redesign. And so we'll use the client's existing furniture. And if we have to add anything, and again, such as life, we might live in a space, we don't buy the art because we don't know what art to put up on that wall. So we can bring in some art, we can bring in some soft decor like cushions and throws, maybe an area rug. That seems to be the biggest thing people miss is area rugs. They just don't know what to buy. They might have pets or dogs that they just don't want to invest in that. But an area rug will really define a space. It really creates a separation from another room, and it cozies it up quite a bit.
I live in a 90s house, so I have separation of space through levels.
Yes.
Drives me crazy.
You need to open that up.
Okay, so let's talk art. I believe these are by Dina Brown, right?
One on my left is Dina Brown, and the one on the right is Taryn.
Okay, so creating a focal point with art. Yes.
We don't stage with television sets. A television can be just like you can see my background here. It's just a black piece, unless you have one of those beautiful art TVs. But art really can resonate with people. You can really feel like the color. It gives you that sense of like these ones here that Dina's is always like some kind of a landscape feeling. It's very calm. It's not directional. So it's not saying this is an animal or this is a specific area. I just love the way it flows and it can create some color into a space. And then we usually play off of that color into the decor and the soft furnishings and soft textiles.
Right. And I recognize that carpet from another staging.
Yeah. Well, we can only have so many. I mean, we have lots of carpets. Again, it's nice to have some kind of carpet with a little bit of color. We don't always do a ton of carpets with color. Again, you don't want the carpet to be the focal point. This now is creating how to use the space, and you're seeing more about the fireplace than you would without the furniture. So all the pieces that we use, we don't want it to distract, but we want to enhance the listing.
Right. Okay. And again, you can see they've left space for people to walk around the living room and really feel it. Often buyers will sit down and like literally feel out a space. Very interesting.
We love that because when we come back and the cushions are all squished, we know that they've actually taken the time and they've sat down. That's key because you want to sit down and envision yourself living there. Like maybe you're looking out at the view. This is how I would want to live. You want people to feel that feeling that you're putting out there.
Okay. So this is very typical on the left. And I think I have that mirror right here now.
Yes.
It's huge. So it's
yes.
Just to give some perspective on the space, that's an 8-foot mirror, I believe.
Yes.
And so is this on Kimta?
Yes. You're amazing.
So these have the dining room has no windows.
Right.
So, and they do have these pot lights, and I really love the fact. So you always say to me, the mirror acts like a window. Totally true. If you were to look at the space and look to the right, that's where the view is going to be. So the kitchen and usually the view is there.
Yes.
So and often when we go into these spaces, it is old furniture. It's heavy and dark.
Yeah.
So you've got the glass tabletop. Flooring looks the same. You've added the green space. So we were talking on the weekend about the cost of staging versus the cost of a price reduction. So what's for something like this, where you bring you have to hire a mover. First of all, you have the consultation, you're figuring out the space, you're hiring a mover, you're moving the stuff in. It's going to be out of your warehouse for a month or two. What is the cost to a seller of staging?
Well, so this is always an interesting one, because people don't necessarily, they always say, why does it cost so much? Why, what's the cost? Well, because we hire professional movers. I can't lift some of these things. I can't lift that 8-foot mirror, right, up the stairs. So we hire professional movers. They come at a cost. We also, the design portion of it and labor to install a property like this, there's some thought process. We take a vision, we see the site, we take a vision, and then we put it together. Because people don't realize that it takes some time to put it together. And it's funny because a lot of people don't have that vision and they don't realize how much time it does. So there's that, and then the installation, and then your furniture. So, the furniture is half the cost of the full stage. And we always charge for the movers and the labor up front. That means after that, if it stays in a couple of months, you're only paying for the furniture. So you don't have to pay for movers to come back. You don't have to pay for us to uninstall the stage. So, but there's a lot that's involved. We're bringing in chairs and tables and greenery and art and bedding and soft decor like textiles, cushions, area rugs. There's a lot that's involved.
Yeah. And so the cost of that, let's say an average, let's say it's $3,000 to $5,000. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people balk at that because they think, okay, it's going to cost me $3,000 to $5,000. I don't know if my place will sell. The thing is, the cost of a price reduction is often $10,000.
Exactly. And it just makes my head explode, because for the cost of staging it, it's probably around 35 to even 6. Let's just say big homes take a little bit of more stuff. You're willing to drop it 10 or 20, 30,000 every month to get a price. Putting 1% to 5% into your listing going into it is what I would suggest. Maybe you have to paint. Maybe you have to clean the carpets. Staging it is so important. Leaving it empty, you're going to have echo. You're going to look at all the imperfections. People might not get the space. You want to sell the lifestyle. I said to you on the weekend, why we sell our cars, we get them detailed. We fill the oil tanks. We fill the gas tanks. Why would we sell our biggest investment with doing nothing?
Yeah. Primed, ready to sell.
Right.
And for this, I think, probably unconsciously, I think I had the same mirror in another listing of mine where there were 2 big windows on the wall.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
And the windows look directly at the neighbor's property. And so what Melanie did was we put a dining room table in it and we put the mirror between the 2 windows. And all of a sudden now we were reflecting the living space. So it looked bigger, but the attention wasn't on the neighbor. It was on the living space. And that place went from 0 to sold in 3 days.
Well, there's an art to it. We're not just putting furniture in and fluffing pillows. And that sometimes I feel is the conversation that needs to happen with realtors and with potential sellers.
Yeah.
That there's a reason we do it for demographic. We'll stage it. We will for the space. Just like if there's a like you said, like there's a problem looking at the neighbors, or there's just, there is no view of anything, there's reasons. And you want somebody to walk into a space and love it. It's a huge commitment.
It's called lifestyle.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's the conversation. And again, we always, go a little crazy when like a realtor or someone will say to us, well, it's just too much money. I can't ask my client for that kind of investment. What we suggest is let us come and be a part of your team to get this property sold. And we'll have the conversation and we'll explain the why, and we'll show them our portfolio. And, then you just kind of look as the realtor, like you want the best for your client and you want them to put their best foot forward.
Right. You want Melanie to be the bad cop.
That's right. The kitty litter cannot go under the dining room table.
Okay. Oops. Sorry. I have the wrong slides. Okay. So, is that your phone?
Yeah, it's okay.
How do people get in touch with you?
Well, they can call me here on the number that's the best, or by sending me an email. And I don't, do you have that there?
I will. So the number is 250-391-1924, and I will edit this for you. What's your email?
It's homestyleteam@gmail.com.
Okay. Alrighty. So, yeah, there you go.
Maybe next time, Jane, we'll do a live on a property and we'll stage one together.
Okay. Sounds
That'd be
good.
Fun.
Maybe you can test me and see if I've learned anything.
Yes. I hope you got your karate chop for your pillows.
Oops, sorry. I'm just trying to get the right slide here. Okay. So everybody, if you want to come and join us, we are on every Monday morning at 10 a.m. Andrew Plank will be back. He is away on a birthday vacation. It's not really his birthday, but he went away. It happened to coincide. You can reach Andrew next week if you want, 250-360-6106. His email is info@andrewplank.com, and his website is andrewplank.com. He is also on Instagram as Plank Andrew. And if you want to reach me, my name is Jane Johnston. My number is 250-744-0775. My email is briarhillgroup@gmail.com. And we have just revamped our website, briarhillgroup.com. We also have VancouverIsland.com, as well as this website, VictoriaRealEstateShow.com. And you can reach me on Instagram at realtyteacher_remax_Victoria. All right, you guys, have a great week. Melanie, thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate it. She's definitely worth the price of the staging, because your house will sell faster, especially in this market. Take care, everybody.
Bye, Jane.
Bye.